first start, first game of the year. How did you think it went? Where would you like to see yourself maybe play better in week 2?
I would say I came into the game with the mentality of trying not to mess up, and my coaches had talked to me, and they told me that, like, you can't just think that everything's going to be perfect because, like, as much as you want to be in this game, it's not always going to be. So I had to come with a different mindset of just trying to know who I am and know what I can do and the controllables that I can't control and just play my game. So next week I'll hopefully not try to get ahead of myself in that area of the game. So I'll just kind of keep everything controlled the way I can.
Did you feel that change at all as the game went on? You guys looked a little uncertain maybe in that first quarter, but certainly the second half was pretty darn good.
I would say we were just stuck in practice mode, I would say, because we haven't been on the field as much as we usually would have, and we were just stuck in practice mode. So as the game went on, we started getting into our groove and feeling the game and started playing the way we should have.
Thanks, man.
Up next, Bill Rabinowitz.
Yes, Marcus. How hard was it to kind of get over that first missed tackle on the long run by Nebraska? Was there anything that anyone said to you or that you kind of resolved to yourself after that play?
I kind of beat myself up a little bit, but my Coach Combs and Coach Barnes had talked to me before the game, and they said that no matter what happens, you're going to make a bad play. It's not always going to be perfect. So I had to just get over it at that moment, because at that point in the game, it was just the beginning of the game. So, like, I couldn't just dwell on that one play and just force myself to dig in a hole to where, like, I can't come back from and just make everything worse. So I had to let go of the play and just continue to play.
You're a Pennsylvania guy, obviously. Whiteout's a big deal at Penn State. How much were you kind of looking forward to having that kind of atmosphere for this game? And are you disappointed that you're not going to have that, or are you happy you're not going to deal with it?
It was always a great atmosphere whenever I went up there, whether it was for a visit or just being there for a game. So I would always have a tremendous amount of loudness. You would hear a lot of sound when you're in that stadium. So it was just something that I've always heard and thought it was amazing. So, I mean, it would have been great playing in that arena with their fans. But at the same time, I mean, you can't just worry about the fans. You got to worry about the game in that moment.
Thanks, Marcus.
Up next, Dan Hope.
Hey, Marcus, just to, get out there and, get your first career start on Saturday, what did that mean to you?
I mean, it's been like something I've been thinking about ever since I had the chance to play. And, I mean, it came faster than I had thought it would because I was just a freshman and I haven't been a sophomore. And the years just have been going fast. At this point, I feel like I'm not even a starter because I share the same role with Josh Proctor. So I would say me and him both play that role.
And I know you had said last time that your mentality is to get the ball. So how badly did you really want that one play to end up being a fumble?
I mean, I thought it was, but at the same time, I mean, it's an uncontrollable situation right there. It wasn't in my hands. So, I mean, if it was, then it was, but it wasn't. So, I mean, I did my job at the end of the day.
Thanks, Marcus.
No problem.
Up next, Nathan Bard.
Hey, Marcus. Saturday was our first look at that nickel package that you guys are using where you and Josh are on the field at the same time. Just what do you like about that? What do you like being kind of paired up with him on the field at the same time?
It's a great feeling because me and Josh had always been on the field together because at first I wasn't at free. And I played a different position at a certain point. And once me and him were able to be on the field at the same time, I felt comfortable. And it's not like I'm not comfortable with him off the field, but just his presence on the field with me, it's just like we have that connection to where we're always talking, getting to know what's going on the field. So it's just a comfort zone whenever he's on the field with me.
where else were you playing before, and has that helped you at all? Anything you take from that to adapt to free?
I was playing like a hybrid linebacker spot my sophomore year, and I'll be more in the box. So, I mean, it wasn't a different change in how I played my game. It's just it was a decision based on our coach where he felt like I was better at free than in the box.
Up next, Brendan Gulick.
Hey, Marcus. Hey, first of two questions here. First one is about the fans or lack thereof in the stadium. First of all, how noticeable was it that the stadium was as empty as it was? And secondly, could you maybe hear more clearly anything that parents were shouting and cheering?
I mean, you have at certain times, but when you're on the field, you're more focused on the plays that are going on within the game. So, I mean, we had practice without fans, so we were used to not hearing anything. And we would even have music playing at times during practice. So, I mean, we practiced without fans. So, I mean, I wouldn't see any difference in how we were playing. So if there were fans there, it would just be no different than us just blocking the noise out and just playing our game.
Okay. Hey, Garrett Wilson told us yesterday his thoughts, and I want to ask you yours about trying to get up to game speed. You know, you mentioned that you guys felt like you were stuck in practice mode a little bit early on the defensive side of the ball. How long did it take for you to feel like your legs were really underneath you and you guys were moving at full speed?
I'll say after that first drive, everybody had knew in their heads that everything wasn't going the way that we thought we were going to play. So I mean, everybody had clicked in the second gear and had that decision process in their mind and realized that that's not how we want to play. That's not how we want to do every drive. So we had talked to ourselves and talked to our coaches and even to each other and said that that's not the way we play. And we figured out that we had to step up a little bit.
Thank you.
Up next, Patrick Murphy.
Marcus, you talked about playing with Josh, but when you two kind of rotated that free position, I'm curious, just as you try and get into a rhythm of a game, when you come out and then come back in, how does that change things for you, or does it at all?
It doesn't change anything at all because we do it at practice. So it's just something I'm used to. And I feel like we're comfortable with doing that because we're both not greedy. We're both wanting each other to strive and do good. So it's not like we're fighting for the spot necessarily. We're opening arms to how we're rotating instead of just saying that we're not having a chance to play the whole game because at the same time we want to win a game. We're not worried about how much time we're getting.
And I asked Sean about this, and I know you guys didn't get tested a ton in the secondary by Nebraska in terms of passing. Obviously, that will be a bigger deal against Penn State. But how did you kind of evaluate the secondary as a whole from that game with so many new faces starting in there?
After that first drive, everybody was playing the way we wanted to play. And if the ball was to be thrown, I felt like we were been comfortable enough to where we would be able to handle it. And Nebraska is a good team, so I mean, if they would have thrown the ball more, we would have played good D and had a better chance of stopping them from making the play.
Did you hear from Malik after the game?
Yes, I did.
What did he have to tell you?
He was telling me from my first start in the game, he said that he could tell that I was nervous because I was telling him before the game that I had overthought each play in my head, and Coach Combs would always tell us that if you're thinking about making a play, it's saying that if you make that play in your head, you'll make it in the game. And at that time, in that moment, I was thinking about missing tackles and stuff. So I would say I was just overthinking it on myself. So I mean, once it happened, I had just snapped clear of the situation and just played my game.
Thanks, man.
Next, Tim May.
Yeah, Marcus, I was wondering, do you ever catch grief from people back in your home state that you're not playing for your home state school on a week like this? What's the banter?
It's not much of them. I would say I would hear most of it from family members back home or family friends back home about Pitt more than Penn State because
Yeah.
Pitt was a school that had offered me before them back when I was in high school. So I mean, I've never heard anyone say anything really about Penn State.
What is it though, from an attitude standpoint of going back and playing in your home state? Does it juice you even more this week? I mean, just because no matter where you're from somewhere. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
how does it juice you?
It's just a great feeling getting to go back into my home state and seeing some faces that I had knew in high school. Jesse Lucada, one of my closest friends back when I was in high school. We used to always hang out and stuff, and hopefully me and him will get to see each other again because we haven't seen each other in a while. So even Journey Brown, we met in high school too. So I mean, there's going to be a lot of familiar faces, Lamont Wade and everyone. I mean,
Yeah.
you know a lot of them guys. They're great competitors, and just looking forward to playing them. They're a great team.
What are the quickie? Do you expect them to lean on their passing game a little bit more, considering how many of their running back situation, the guys they've lost over the last week or so? I mean, do you expect them to come at you guys from a passing standpoint? Just what's your gut feeling right now?
I mean, as of right now, I can't even say that because at times of the week, you never know what they could put in. You don't know what type of packages they could put in. So, I mean, as of right now, I'm just going to look over the film with my coach and everybody and just look at the film in the way that they're playing it, in a way of, like, seeing what they're already playing and just go off of that before I could make a decision and thinking of what they can do when we play them.
Gotcha. Thanks, man.
No problem.
Up next, Tony Gertman.
Hey, Marcus, I want to ask you about the Ohio State freshman receivers. How often during practice, through camp, whenever it's been, has somebody or guys made a play that just made you stop or say wow, or I guess give them a little bit of credit for what they just did?
They all made amazing plays during practice. Jackson, we got Julian, we got G. Scott, we got all of them. All of them made great plays. And there was a point during practice where, like, 4 of them caught one-handed passes, and I was just like, oh, wow. Our wide receiver core is just an amazing group because, like, they're all athletic and they all have tremendous abilities because they're showing them during practice. So, like, at that moment, I knew that each of them are going to play the roles that coach wants for them, and they're going to do it the way they do it and the best of their ability.
Thank you.
Up next, we have Spencer Holbrook.
Marcus, you said that Malik had told you that you looked a little nervous when you first started. You could tell. Do you already feel more comfortable now than you did at this time last week?
I mean, I'm always going to be nervous about a game because I care. And if I wasn't showing any type of feeling about the game, it wouldn't be a sign of me showing how I feel about the game. So it's like, as I'm going into this game, I'm going to be just as nervous as the first game, but I'm going to have a different mindset of knowing that I can make the plays that I've made in the last game and this game. So it's just like, I'm not going to dwell on something that I shouldn't be thinking pretty hard about.
How does that calming factor come in? Like, is it the first point of contact you make? Is it the first tackle? Like how do you personally settle down when you're nervous in a game?
It's just think to myself and just have the conversation within my head and know that I can do it and not think that I can't do anything that I have done any time during practice. So, like, I just think more of trying to make the play instead of trying to think that I can't make the play.
And last question goes to Stephen Means.
Hey, Marcus, you're talking about how maybe you were overthinking it a little bit when that game started and maybe it took a little while for you to get comfortable. What series maybe did you start to feel comfortable and get into a rhythm out there?
So once I had came out in the second drive, I had time to just know that, like, wow, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. So I was just messing around in my head for no reason because I already know that I can make that play. So I just when I went back in the game, I was just like, all right, it's time to play my game. I'm not going to worry about something that I can control myself. I can control my emotions and everything. So I knew within myself that I was going to make that play, and I made the play. after that and after that and after that. So it was just something that I had to think about and realize before stepping back on the field.
Thanks.
Thank you very much, Marcus.